They tried to silence him. They thought he was finished, but one man's fight ignited a revolution that burned down the whole system. This is the story of a man named V. It all kicks off back in 1605 in London. A revolutionary named Guy tries to blow up Parliament because he is fed up with the way the country is being run and the corruption eating through the government. While he is planting explosives under the building, the king's soldiers catch him and he is sentenced to death in front of the entire city as a warning. So nobody ever dares to rise up again. Then we jump to present day. We meet another revolutionary who calls himself V as he puts on his task and sets a plan in motion to completely shake up England and take down a corrupt system. At the same time, there is a young woman named Evie sitting in front of her mirror listening to a television host named Lewis, praising the government and blaming the country's problems on political dissidents. Evie turns off the TV and heads out to meet her boyfriend. But two men connected to the ruling party corner her and try to assault her. Out of nowhere, V appears, takes them both down with precise, deadly strikes and saves her. She is stunned by his skills and asks who he is. He tells her he is just a man who wants justice and revenge against a rotten government. Seeing she is intrigued, he invites her to what he calls a concert, promising she will not be harmed and that she will never forget it. She agrees and follows him to the rooftop of a towering building. When she realizes there is no concert, he changes the subject and tells her that on this very night, centuries ago, a man named Guy was executed for standing against the government and trying to destroy Parliament. As he finishes speaking, music floods the streets through hidden speakers and he conducts the moment like a maestro. Suddenly, a government building explodes, lighting up the sky, and V stands there satisfied. Ivy is shaken, realizing he is following in Guy's footsteps and intends to bring down every symbol of corruption while inspiring the people to fight for their rights. The next day, the Prime Minister meets with his investigators, demanding the identity of the bomber. Security footage shows a masked man with a young woman, and suspicion falls on Evie. She is labeled a terrorist on every news channel, and a nationwide manhunt begins. V storms the television network where Evie works, forcing his way into the live broadcast room and threatening to blow the place up unless they air his message. He addresses the nation, exposing government corruption and calling on the people to rise up and reclaim their freedom. He promises that on the 5th of November next year, Parliament will fall. Detective Eric begins connecting the dots as key government figures start turning up dead, each body marked by a red rose. The pattern reveals a trail leading back to a secret prison where political prisoners were subjected to horrific experiments under military oversight. One by one, those responsible are being eliminated. Evie eventually wakes up inside V's underground home, surrounded by rare books and art. He tells her the authorities know her identity and that she must stay with him until the following 5th of November. She resists, at first unsure if she can trust him, but slowly opens up about her past. Her parents were political activists murdered by the regime, leaving her living in constant fear. For the first time, she admits she wants that fear gone and wants to stand for something as more powerful figures. Fall to V's calculated revenge, Detective Eric uncovers the truth about the secret detention facility where prisoners were injected with a deadly virus as part of a hidden government experiment. The Prime Minister had planned to use fear of that virus to tighten control over the country. Every step V takes is deliberate. Every death tied to that prison. And as the 5th of November draws closer, the country stands on the edge of something unstoppable. A reckoning years in the making and a revolution ready to ignite. The plan was to spread the virus across Europe so the chaos would weaken every country and make it easier to take them over. But the virus was so deadly it wiped out every prisoner inside that facility except one inmate known as Number 5. That survivor was V. Because his body reacted differently, his cells regenerated at an extreme rate. One day, a massive explosion ripped through the prison, and while the doctors were scrambling to escape, Dr. Delia saw V walking out of his cell, burned and disfigured, screaming that he would hunt down every single person responsible. The next day, Evie watches her friend Gordon on his talk show and is shocked when he openly mocks the Prime Minister for failing to capture V. She warns him to apologize, because powerful men do not forgive humiliation, but he brushes it off, convinced he is untouchable. That night, armed officers storm the house, arrest Gordon, and knock him unconscious. Evie tries to escape, but is captured and thrown into a secret detention center. An investigator offers her freedom if she reveals where V is hiding. She hesitates, but ultimately refuses because she knows he is fighting to expose government corruption. As punishment, they shave her head and torture her for months, yet she never breaks. Inside her cell, she discovers a hidden note from a woman imprisoned next door who writes about being taken years earlier for genetic experiments and says she hopes the man in the neighboring cell escapes and Hunt rises up against the regime. That message becomes Evie's source of strength when she is finally threatened. With execution, she declares she is no longer afraid of death. In that moment, she is told she is free. She soon realizes the prison was an illusion created by V inside his own home to force her to confront her fear. She collapses in anger, but he explains he had to break her fear of the government because fear was the only chain holding her captive. Standing in the rain, she finally feels free. Later, V admits he was once imprisoned in that same facility and that the letter she found belonged to a woman named Amy, whose words inspired him to fight back and start a revolution. When Evie leaves, he breaks down, clearly in love with her, yet committed to his mission. As the 5th of November approaches, the Prime Minister locks down the city, fearing unrest. V strikes a deal with Creedy, the Prime Minister's deputy, offering himself in exchange for delivering the Prime Minister to him. He then distributes thousands of his masks across London, urging the people to stand together. On the 5th of November, a young girl wearing his mask is shot in the street by police, and her death ignites public outrage. Crowds flood toward Parliament. V returns home to find Evie waiting, and she insists on helping him finish what he started. He takes her to an abandoned tunnel where a train loaded with explosives sits beneath Parliament, ready to move at the push of a button. He asks her to send it forward because he intends to surrender himself after settling his score. She confesses her love and begs him not to turn himself in, reminding him he has become a symbol. He tells her symbols are only powerful if people believe in them and that he must see this through no matter the cost. He meets Creedy, who delivers the Prime Minister and watches as V kills him. Creedy demands V remove his mask, but V refuses, saying no one will know his identity unless he dies. When Creedy orders his men to fire, the bullets fail to stop him, and V cuts them down one by one. Before killing Creedy, he declares that a man can die, but an idea cannot. Mortally wounded, he returns to Evie, confesses his love, and urges her never to let fear control her again. He dies in her arms. Evie places his body aboard the train and sends it forward. Detective Eric tries to stop her, but she tells him people need hope, and there will be no more corrupt officials hiding behind those walls. As thousands gather wearing his mask, the train reaches its destination, and Parliament explodes before the eyes of the nation. Evie tells Eric that the 5th of November will never be forgotten because of what V did. He gave his life so others could find their courage, and the people finally understand that dignity and freedom are worth fighting for, even if the price is everything. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a new video, and I will see you next time. Take care.